So I'm going to talk about 7 themes that the Integration Application Network has developed. One is communicating science effectively. Second, reporting ecosystem status or environmental report cards. Third, teaching and training. Fourth, catalyzing conservation outcomes. Fifth, advancing Chesapeake Bay restoration. And then sixth, building strategic partnerships. And then finally, creating good citizenship models. So let me talk about communicating science effectively. What we're trying to do is develop innovative ways to visually present science. We have an image library as well as a symbol library that we've put on the web, and we've currently have 130 million images downloaded. We've got a large and growing number of registered users that have from every country in the world that have applied for and gotten symbols and diagrams that they've used, and we've also pioneered a variety of different science communication techniques, these conceptual diagrams embedded in booklets and books and newsletters, etc. We've had an active blog presence and increasing Facebook presence. We use science communication as well in our report cards. So we ask this basic question when we're what we consider providing environmental intelligence to the public: how healthy is your ecosystem? And we've done iconic report cards around the world. We've done the Mississippi River, Chesapeake Bay, Long Island Sound will be released in a couple weeks. A couple of coastal regions in India, Chilika Lake being one of them. We've been in the South Pacific and Samoa, been in the Great Barrier Reef. We've done the Kura River in Central Asia. We've done, we're geared up to do the Orinoco River in Venezuela and Colombia, and we're doing the Gulf of Mexico framework at least, and hopefully fill that out with a full report card, and the Willamette River, which is going to be released later this year in Oregon. So these grades distill into single letter grades, but underneath those letter grades are numerical rankings of a variety of different indicators and lots of data that support these grades. We've also increasingly attempted to tell stories, tell more of a narrative of what these report cards mean. What does this data mean in terms of a narrative? So these stories we're trying to tell, and we have a new website called Chesapeake Bay Story, focused on those stories. And it uses the data, but then it turns it into a story. We provide these in a very public setting. So these report cards are released in a public kind of context. We also are increasingly in trying to empower citizen scientists to enter into the reporting realm, collect and interpret and analyze and communicate the data that they're collecting to augment the agency-supported data collection. And we have a coalition called Mid-Atlantic Tributary Assessment Coalition to help empower citizen scientists. We're increasingly integrating broader set of indicators than just ecosystem status. So the Mississippi River is a good example of incorporating social and economic indicators in combination with the ecological indicators. So in the Mississippi, we're focused in on transportation, the water highways of the barge network for the Midwest, and the recreational opportunities, the river-dependent economies, the water supply, flood control issues, in addition to ecosystems. We really try to build capacity with various partners. We like to share our techniques and approaches. So we teach science communication in a variety of locations around the world as often as possible. We also have developed a series of online tools, in this case, Teach Ocean Science website that has videos and interactive games and a lot of content with visual elements and teacher resources for projects that have been developed and approved by teachers. We're working with the group in New York, the Billion Oyster Project, to come up with teaching opportunities for high school students. And we're also expanding our course offerings through the Marine Environmental Estuarine Sciences Program, MEES, which is a partnership between University of Maryland Center for Environmental Science, the University of Maryland College Park, and several other universities in the system in Maryland. And we're looking at ways to expand our teaching footprint, and we're going to be developing new courses starting this fall 2015. We're taking on interns and graduate students. We embed them in various projects. This is one of our new PhD students on the right. Susie Spitzer is going to be working on the Billion Oyster Project, for example. Another issue that we attempt to do with our integration application is to catalyze conservation outcomes and using science communication to help affect change. So we worked with the Maryland Department of Environment to come up with a greenhouse gas reduction plan, which was delivered by then Governor O'Malley at the Maryland Climate Change Summit. We used clear declarative statements like the ones that are listed here to help make unequivocal statements about how climate change is happening and how we can make a difference through our actions. We support those with various graphics, including infographics and short statements about how this reducing carbon pollution can help grow a green economy, support jobs, protect the environment, improve public health. So we think we can make a difference by being more effective at communicating. We have some embedded employees at DNR that work with local agencies and planning authorities and municipalities to come up with climate adaptation strategies, and we help create materials that will inform and assist local planners. We also work in the South Pacific on a variety of different projects that use our synthesis as an advocacy tool to help with adaptation options, and this, they give us a report that we convert into a more user-friendly format, and the net result is we can see more adaptation behavior, in this case planting mangroves in the South Shore of Fiji. We also made a strong case for marine protected areas around the world and worked with Conservation International and WWF on this initiative and made both economic and natural science and social sciences cases for doing more in terms of climate, in terms of building marine protected areas that would be resilient to things like climate change. We also work very closely with state government in Maryland, in various settings, a Bay STAT, Bay Cabinet, Bay Work Group, to try to advance conservation in Maryland. And in particular, since we're right on the shores of Chesapeake Bay, we really have a real important role, we think, in advancing Chesapeake restoration and directly engage with resource managers. One of our most powerful ways of doing that is embedding UMCs at the Bay program staff, these 11 people, in the day-to-day, hands-on restoration of Chesapeake Bay in a variety of different roles. We also created the Science and Technical Assessment Reporting Group, the STAR group, and I co-chair that with colleagues from USGS. We have a science synthesis that we call New Insights to look at the 30 years of monitoring as an output of that. I also serve as the governor's appointee on the STAC, the Science and Technical Advisory Committee, and so we've got two places to inject science into the Chesapeake Bay program, which has really become quite vibrant of late with these goal teams that are really empowered with, focused on a series of agreements, a series of objectives and measurable standards that we've developed through the new Chesapeake Bay Agreement signed in 2013, and you see, or 2014, sorry, and you can see where we're trying to put science into the hands of the resource managers. And another way we do this for Chesapeake is this annual Chesapeake report card, which we build on every year. We also do forecasting and tracking. The other thing that we're trying to do is build strategic partnerships. And these strategic partnerships are trying to extend the reach of EN, which is a really quite unique organizational. And one way is this kind of a semi-franchise that was created by Robert Twilley on the far left of this photograph, the Sea Grant director in Louisiana. And he calls it LADIA, Louisiana Discovery, Integration, and Application. And a bunch of young professional postdocs and junior faculty are being involved in developing better science integration and application skills. We also started and have maintained a partnership with the Maryland Coastal Bays, producing annual report cards, the book Shifting Sands, and a series of products to synthesize and communicate knowledge, as well as guide the research science to identify where the source of some of the problems that we've documented in those coastal bays are. We've got what I call intense collaborations with a variety of different agencies and organizations, and we use these at both local levels and global and regional levels, and we've developed really strong working relationships with a variety of these organizations, and these are really a way of embedding the EN approach into more places in the world. So we're also trying to create good citizenship models, a good way of working collaboratively and connected with a lot of people. We have our embedded staff at these various state agencies, and you can see these staff are intermingled here with our core EN staff, as well as our embedded at the Bay program, embedded at DNR, Maryland Department of Natural Resources, Maryland Department of Environment, Department of Education. We have an office and a welcoming staff that help when people use the UMC's office in Annapolis. We have conference facilities and availability there. So those are the 7 themes that EN has undertaken and excelled at. Thanks.